Well, it died. The motor died. We are strictly under sail right now with no wind. So we're at, I do seem to have control of the boat though. And we're moving along around 2.5 knots. So I'm gonna try to keep it as calm as we can while Sam goes down below and checks it out and see what our problem is. Just as we went into Ramada Cove a couple days ago, to anchor, the shifter cable came off. That was a little unnerving, but I did donuts until Sam was able to drop the anchor. Luckily, we were going in there pretty slow, so it wasn't too intense. Had a lovely couple days and then just tried to leave this morning to head up to our next bay. We've gone 1.3 nautical miles and the engine died. It's dead. First it lost RPMs and then it sputtered a little bit, came back, died. We were able to start it again.
Come on, baby.
It's been exciting so far. Oh man, just as we were commenting on how fast it was moving after we cleaned everything and the RPMs were back and she was just running great, and then all of a sudden just decided to take a break. Well, what's the verdict?
I don't know. Motor's broken. I think we're having some fuel issues. It runs and it dies, and it runs and it dies. It has no power. Not sure what it is. I'm sweating to death. It's hot. In true Hiraya fashion, we've side-tied the dinghy again, pushing the boat about 4.5 to 5 knots. We were trying to make 40 miles before dark. Looks like we'll get there maybe at 8, which is about an hour before dark, which would be great. Our friend Kirby on Lodos is shadowing us. Poor guy, he's like, I gotta take care of these youngsters, these kids, these noobs. We told him he could go on ahead, but he's a nice guy and figures he probably ought to make sure we make it to our spot. I guess that's the beauty of buddy boating. It is actually nice to see a boat behind us. He offered to tow us as well if something happens, but we're gonna try the dinghy for a while. Well, our engine saga continues. We ended up hit tying the dinghy to get to our anchorage because the motor decided to die. It'll run for a few minutes and then it acts like it is starving for fuel and it shuts off. So I did a little bit of research. Apparently everybody thinks that there's a little bit of air in the system somehow, so I'm going to go through and check all the filters, check all the O-rings, all the gaskets, try to bleed out the air in the system and see if that solves our problem. This is my morning, playing with diesel fuel. Let's get to it. Well, I've replaced the O-rings in both filters, new filters. I think I'm gonna try to run the fuel pump right now and see if I get any air bubbles anywhere and see if I can't bleed out the rest of the system.
The owner's manual was vague. It said it's supposed to be a self-priming, self-bleeding system, but I think I've got air trapped somehow. So I'm gonna keep plugging away at this. Hopefully I can get this thing going. Well, the fuel pump's making noise, so I'm assuming the fuel pump itself actually works. I'm gonna try now to bleed out any air that we have in here. Right, so I got some air out of that, which is the top of the fuel filter housing. Now I'm gonna come over and see if I can't find something on the injection pump, and then probably on every injector, see if I can get some air out of the system. I've spent all day trying to sort out this diesel engine, to no avail, no luck. I have decided I am not a very good mechanic. Thought I was okay, apparently I'm not, but I have learned, you know, about 5,000 ways not to fix a motor. I still believe it is a fuel problem. We've got it to run for a minute or two at a time, and then it just dies again. Like, it runs, completely starts for fuel and dies. I don't think it's a compression problem. I pulled the glow plugs out, and I don't have a compression gauge on the boat, but there is compression. They all kind of feel about the same. I'll give them the old thumb test, you know, stick your thumb on it and see how it does. Cranked it over by hand, they all have something, and they all felt about the same, you know. Not that that's very scientific, but that's, you know, what do you do, right? So, cleaned up the mess. I'm down to plan, I've given up on plan A, B, C, D. I'm down to plan R, which is a rum and coke. Contemplate a little bit, enjoy the evening a little. And tomorrow we're gonna look at it again, see what we can come up with. So that's where we are at the moment. It's kind of like getting kicked in the nuts, you know. We were all excited to go, we got our exhaust fixed, things were doing good, thought our engine troubles were behind us, and now here we are.
Well, congratulating you on sticking with it. Sticking with it.
On failing.
We just don't know what we're doing yet.
I know. Buy a boat, he says. It'll be fun, he said. It's all part of it. It's all part of the experience. It is a little frustrating though, to be honest. It is a sailboat, right? And here we are stuck with engine problems, like it's the end of the world.
It's not like it's the end of the world, but what we're concerned about is we're in the middle of hurricane season. We're trying to get north. We have the Chubascos really ramping up. So the motor's kind of a safety item in a way.
It's definitely a safety item for us and a convenience. We'll get by though. We can sail for a while. We're gonna see if we can't get into a little bigger town. I'm going to make a bridle tomorrow so we can tow our dinghy, so we do not have to get it off the boat in the middle of the ocean. So we're gonna tow it, which we aren't real fond of doing, but that's where we're at right now. And we're probably going to tow it with the motor on, which is even more what we never want to ever do. But it's the only way we can control our boat if something bad happens, or if the wind completely dies, which happens. It happens more than you'd think, especially I think this time of year in the sea.
Yeah, it's weird.
So, you know, that's how we're gonna get into the anchorages. If we don't feel safe sailing in, we're gonna just pull the dinghy to the side, start up the motor, and do what we do, you know. Now, if there's enough wind to sail into the anchorage, we'll probably still strap the dinghy to the side just as a backup, but we'll sail in and anchor like, you know, like old school, like we should know how to do anyways. We're good at sailing off our anchor. We've never actually sailed onto our anchor. It's something vital that we should learn to do. But I'd like to do it with some sort of mechanical backup. I guess we're wimps.
I don't think we're wimps. Look what we've done. I always want to point out the positive side. Look at what we've done, because for me it's so cool. The biggest question is, do I embrace the suck and keep the long hair, or do I just chop it off so I don't have to deal with it anymore? That's my biggest problem.
I'm pretty sure before summer's over, she's gonna cut her hair.
We found a small crack in the fuel filter housing. Thinking we found the issue, Kirby motored us across Baja Concepcion to Mulegé, where we anchored at the mouth of the river. To get to town, we had to take the dinghy up the river a few miles. Colors popped through the palm tree-lined riverbank. Birds sang from the banks, and the brackish water held hundreds, if not thousands, of blue cannonball jellyfish. We walked the narrow streets of Mulegé looking for the auto parts store, greeted by cheerful people along the way. We found the auto parts store, and the owner spent well over an hour trying to help us come up with a system and parts to bypass the filter and make a new one. With a bag of parts in hand, we grabbed a quick lunch of tacos and limonada and headed back to the dinghy. We traveled back down the river, through the jellyfish, and Kirby motored us back across the bay and to Hiraya. He wished us luck, and we went to work. That's the look of frustration.
Yeah, I'm a little frustrated.
You're bummed out, I can tell.
Out. Diesel motors are terrible machines.
It's like his birthday got ruined.
No, a little bummed. Thought we had the motor fixed. It's been broken ever since we got back. Can't figure out why. So we were gonna try to sail up to Santa Rosalia today. It's 40 miles.
We prayed for a little wind.
Yeah, well apparently we prayed a little too hard.
We did the dance too long.
Because now we're in a little squall. And the wind's gusting, I don't know, what, 30 knots or something?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little too windy for us to pick up anchor and go.
Without a backup. And it's really shallow right around here. We don't need to get ourselves into trouble though.
No, we could do it, but it's not worth it.
Not when we can wait a couple hours.
We'll wait, see what happens.
I know, boring adventurers.
Right? Scared of a little bit of wind on a sailboat.
Scared of 15 feet and of depth, and that's plenty of water. Just don't hit those 2 reefs on the way out.
Oh, man.
Well, I could have slept longer because it's finally cool. Well, I'm gonna take a nap.
I'm gonna go make some coffee.
Ooh. I actually will do that instead.